Hey guys, I'm Dylan, the investor agent and realtor right here in Tampa Bay. Today, I want to talk about Padsplit, what it is and how it works. And you may have heard about it from other investors, maybe on Bigger Pockets, or maybe you stumbled onto it from Google. And like all things new, you're probably skeptical of it, maybe even skeptical in the same way you were of Airbnb in the beginning. See, there's a new way to rent out your property these days, and I think it's risen out of a crisis of unaffordability. Often referred to as room sharing, Padsplit allows owners to rent out individual rooms. I mean, similar to the Airbnb model in the beginning, but Airbnb opened the doors to short-term and vacation renting. But Padsplit takes like a leap sideways, right? This interesting model is breaking down the affordability barrier for a significant class of renters, but it's also unlocking previously unobtainable cash flow for landlords. I mean, like often doubling or tripling conventional long-term rental. How does it work? Padsplit is very similar to Airbnb in the sense that they're both just a website and a market. You can put your property on there and they will find you tenants. Now, they'll market your property, screen and approve your guests and price ranges for them. They'll collect rent and even arbitrate issues between the members. The key, though, to really making this passive is through hiring a host or a property manager to handle the maintenance, like day-to-day stuff, like the repairs. Otherwise, it's a pretty active business like Airbnb. The typical renter of Padsplit, according to the data provided, is between 25 to 40 years old. They're single. Padsplit does not allow overnight stays with like boyfriends, girlfriends, or their pets. The average stay is about 8 to 10 months, so they are considered long-term renting. And the average occupancy rate right now is about 93% for the Tampa market. Eviction rates are pretty low, and they're also very quick because like members, they pay weekly, and I think if they miss like 2 weeks, they're at risk of being evicted. And with that on their record, they're going to be unable to find another Padsplit room. And I mean, unfortunately, if you can't afford a Padsplit room, I don't know how you can afford a studio or a one-bedroom right now. Anyway, let's dive into the numbers a bit. The rental rates in Padsplit properties average $600 to $900 per month per room. The pricing is contingent on the room size, the bathroom count, the level of updates in the house, and of course, the location. The sweet spot for most rooms, I think, seems to hover about $200 per week, and that averages you about $800 per month. And I'm rounding down because some months have 5 weeks. But here's where it gets practical and exciting because, like, picture a typical house in Tampa, an updated 4-bedroom, 3-bath. Maybe the average is actually a 3-2, but it's a 4-3. Upgraded into an 8-3. This property as a 4-3 would only rent out for like 25 or maybe 2,900, maybe. But we can get you closer to 6,400 a month through Padsplit. Now, you're not just netting all that as extra profit because there are other fees and expenses associated with renting it this way. We'll talk about that next. But you will notice a huge difference, especially if you were previously underwater or like negative with your long-term rents, especially if you bought in 2023. As far as the extra costs associated with being a Padsplit owner, Padsplit charges 14.75% currently, and then it'll cost you about another 6% a month to hire a property manager or host to make it fully passive. They're also going to be covering all the utilities, which can average $600 to $700 a month. Depends on the size of the house. Like we'll go over that too, but I tend to keep vacancy, capex, and maintenance reserves the same as you would a long-term rental. There are some upfront costs associated. There's furnishing. It only costs about $7,000 to $8,000 actually for like a 7 or 8 bedroom house. Far less than Airbnb. I mean, it's like $20,000 if you do it right. If you're in the Tampa Bay area, I am connected with people who can not only help you furnish your property, but they can also help you manage as well. So let me know. Now, here's the catch though, because obviously not just any property can work for Padsplit. There are several factors we have to consider with each property. There's location, there's parking, there's bedroom to bathroom count ratio, there's bedroom minimum square footage. Is it in an HOA? Is the layout conducive to that many bedrooms? How much will it cost to renovate the house? This is where you should really work with an agent who knows Padsplit, and they can advise you on what works and what doesn't. I mean, one of the great things I think about Padsplit is that literally someone can move into a property on very, very, very short notice. They don't need to put in a security deposit. They don't need to set up utilities. They can pay through Padsplit online with a credit card like you would with Airbnb, and then they can jump right into a room that's already half furnished They just have to bring their sheets, their toothpaste, their clothes, whatever. And move outs for you, move outs are super quick because remember, they're easy. You're turning one bedroom, not the whole house, just one bedroom. And statistically, I've heard from a lot of owners, they actually tend to leave the rooms in pretty good shape because they want their deposit back. So why go with a room share or pad split? I mean, I think it gives investors the opportunity to buy properties they normally wouldn't be able to cash flow with and appreciate quicker because they're in potentially nicer areas and the cash flow is there or at worst break even. We're thinking about this from a appreciation first perspective with cash flow as a sidekick, but like think about all those properties you would love to own, but the problem is that they're in that A or B area and your cash flow was probably negative $500 a month with some of those properties. And in this crazy market right now with the interest rates so high, you can actually cash flow on some of them, or again, at worst, break even. And not only that, when you're buying these properties, we're in such a weird market, you might even be able to get a price reduction on them because they've been sitting on the market for a while. So just think about that because we do have an unaffordability crisis. These types of rental properties are serving a class of renter that just cannot afford anything. We have a lot of, I think they're essential workers getting paid less than $2,000 to $3,000 a month. And how can you afford a $1,000 or $1,100,000 studio when you're paying taxes, you're paying rent, you're paying food and clothes, you're paying a car, you're paying car insurance and gas, student loans, and a ton of other stuff. But while it may not be as cool to own this type of property versus an Airbnb, I mean, with an Airbnb, you can go travel and visit during the dead season. You can tell your friends, you can show off. I think there's less risk involved with pad split. I think we're seeing the market shift, and it seems like for the foreseeable future, there's always going to be a fairly large amount of people who need very, very affordable housing. People who don't want to live in their parents' basements anymore, or who need to save up to buy their first house, whatever it is. Don't forget to share this with an investor who doesn't know about pad split or doesn't believe you. And please like if you learned something and let me know what you think about this. I've worked with several buyers in the Tampa Bay market to locate and close on future pad split properties. If you're in Tampa, St. Pete, Lakeland, or Sarasota, or anywhere in between, hit me up and let's talk. Thanks for watching.